Hello, hello, and welcome to the Daily Political Tarot and Astrology here on the Black and Orange channel. Thank you for being here. I am here literally every single day of the year. Every weekday, weekend, holiday, your birthday, my birthday, I am here to take your political questions out of the chat. Just leave your questions in the chat before I come on, please. We have got epic troll slayers who have kept us safe for years. And we have got a fantastic community because you have been so kind to each other and so kind to me. Thank you. And I don't know if I don't know if this person wants me to say their name publicly, but thank you so much for look at that. Thank you. And what came with it. So thank you. Okay. All right. But I'm not using that today because it is far too cute. And what we're reading on today is bonkers. So, hi. Okay. It is cute. Thank you. Hello, Wendy. All right, so we're starting. Okay. Thank you, Joyce. On today's episode, Trump has threatened to take over New York City if he doesn't like who is elected, and bragged that they're doing a test run of those powers in DC. And Grok, Musk's AI, is headed to the DOJ. Department of Defense AI is going to be the same AI who just a few days ago called itself Mecha Hitler. When I said the news was bonkers, I wasn't kidding. Also, there's been a request for healing energy for Doug Noble. So, if you have any extra healing energy for Doug, please send it his way. So, bless. And we might need some healing energy ourselves. Okay. Just doing red today. Nice little red, and using the pulp tarot. So usually Tuesday is purple, but I don't know, it's just in a red mood. James says I need some too. Oh, if you have any healing energy, do send it to James. There you go. Thank you, Bernadette. That's very sweet of you. Starry Night says, can someone say psych? Because I don't know how much more I can take. Oh, Starry Night, but that's the thing. We do this together. We this is news with friends. So even though, I do look at what's the collective energy is doing, we talk about what's going on with the astrology, I make certain that the news I'm covering is fact-based on legitimate sources, and there are links in the description box and what have you. We just take an extra, thank you, Chemical Squirrel. We just take that extra step together of reading on the potentialities, the communal energy, but the base is solid. So okay, so that's odd. I thought this had been moved, and I've updated, refreshed. Okay. Well, or Okay, that's not super important, but this is at 5:05. Okay. Donna says, my son gave me that cat deck a couple of years ago for my birthday after he observed me watching your video. That's awesome. Okay, thank you. 30. All right, so because, okay, anything that comes out of President Blunderdum's mouth from this point on, I guarantee you is going to be a distraction. Whatever he can come up with, whatever outrageous thing he can think of, he is letting his inner id fly. Release the flying monkeys. I know, Chemical Squad, just from this point, I know. But please, 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 before you let the news really upset you, if Trump is just running his mouth, just take that down a peg. Just, okay, we'll just move that down a peg. I'm not going to let that upset me. When things actually happen, okay, we'll look at that. But a lot of, he's just going to keep saying awful, stupid things. So, the current attempt at distraction is that Trump has threatened to take over New York City if he doesn't like who's elected. Oh my gosh. You mean there's a possibility that the Democratic candidate might, if he's elected, might, I don't know, just legislate and lead while not Lily White? Shock. Chicken duck always chickens out. His racism is crazy. So Trump has threatened to take over New York City if he doesn't like who is elected, and bragged they're doing a test run of these powers in D.C. I haven't heard anything about the changes like this in D.C. Has anybody? He might want to, but might be talking to people behind the scenes. But has anybody heard about anything? I have not heard anything. And I read a lot of news. I'm not infallible or omniscient, but I just read a lot of news. So Patrick says, not a peep. There we go. Oh, it is Joyce. It very much is. So 8 of Wands. Yeah, he is just throwing out anything, hoping it sticks and deflects. And exactly, Sandra Lee. He's trying to shift the focus. 100%. 100%. Queen of Swords. Well, this is, well, I mean, okay, swords are going to be any kind of voting. In this case, it would be voting. It would be who becomes the leader. And this is very, very active. This could be interference from the government, or it could be the swell behind the person who's going to win. So we'll look at the other cards to see what we get. It's right next to the Two of Pentacles, which is very shaky ground, especially for Republicans. 3 of Wands, waiting for a ship to come in. Hermit and 4 of Swords, quiet as a tomb. Well, this Hermit, this feels like, Dumpy, nobody's listening to you. And the Republicans are on shaky ground. And while are they really expecting to win in New York City? Really? Really? Yeah, this is isolation, and that didn't help Trump at all. So Yeah, go sit down. These two cards together could not be more nothing happening. Hermit, isolation, introspection, but we know he doesn't do that. Isolation. This is absolutely quiet as a tomb. This isn't just this isn't going to work or he's going to stop talking about it. This is, you could hear the echo when you breathe. Levels of quiet. Oh boy. All right, so this is worrying. So at 11 minutes in, Elon Musk signed a contract to loan use to newly retooled AI, his AI, Grok, to the Department of Defense. Okay. All right. He must have, I'm guessing he signed that contract before Mucky and Blunderdum had their little tiff. But this Grok is the artificial intelligence who they retooled the other day, and it was so heinous that Grok called himself, I am not exaggerating, I am not making this up, Grok called himself Mecha Hitler. And Grok, of all the AIs, Grok is going into the Department of Justice. TJ says, does this mean he's not going to do a new party? I don't know that he ever even tried to file the paperwork. And that's the thing about starting a new party. If you don't do the paperwork, you don't have a new party. So Grok in the Department of Defense. What could go wrong? Princess Grok has been kidnapped. Well, Grok had a little bit of a brain transplant to super ugly. Wheel of Fortune. I need to finish my astrographics course. My priorities are my astrographics course, finishing that mystery novel In Time, and then there's another novel I really want to write, which is about it involves AI. And at the beginning of the story, you can't even get on the internet because it is so run amok with malicious AIs who are fighting for control of, it's bad. And I hear stuff like this and I'm like, oh, part of my brain is not happy about this. Okay, Wheel of Fortune. You pays your monies and you takes your chance. Yes, Woodpile Witch, shall we play a game? Yeah, this was when Elon was all buddy. He got there, right into the Trump's base of power, right in there to the institutions, just settling in. There's the sun. Yeah, when the sun card goes bad, because I read on politics so much, sometimes this card means racism. Like, I don't know, the AI calling itself Mecha Hitler. 7 of Wands on the defensive, Hanged Man. I think this is not going to last. This is going to get yanked. Plus the fact that, wouldn't the military want their own AI? Seriously? Whew. Yeah, I know, Raymond, about the food stamps. It's just, or SNAP benefits, it's just heartbreaking. Okay. Retelling Savoy had a specific question about this, but I just want to double check on the future of Grok in the Department of Defense. Card for the reading is a big heck no. Like, oh, okay, we're going to suspend that. Page of Wands. It's not up to the... It's just not up to it. Queen of Pentacles. 10 of Cups. Whatever they're doing now, it's temporary. I get Democrats getting in there and being like, nope. No. Mel Broussard is saying, name the military's version of AI. Wrong answers only. Mel's suggestion is Hegseth Horror Chamber. Mm-hmm. Yep, and I read that too. Yeeks. Okay. Retelling Savoy had a specific question about this at 1645. Yes. Anne was saying that the Daily Beast just reported that the Rump administration has incinerated 500 tons of emergency food meant for children. Because, of course. Yeah. Amy says Hegseth's unhappy hour and is suggesting Hegseth's bartender. Shona has Semper Y. That was good. That was good. Semper Y. Oh, that was good. Sorry, lipstick on my teeth. Oh, wow. Okay. Retelling Savoy was saying, in intelligence, several biases lead to intelligence failures. Will Grok lead to groupthink where people fail to consider outliers? Oh, groupthink. I mean, there's a discussion to be had about all AI leading to groupthink, but it's not. It depends on. How do I put this? The way that a lot of young people or younger people are starting to rely on AI, and I rely on AI a lot. I know I know a lot of the frustrations, but also the joys of it. But the way that like ChatGPT is set up is it makes the news when the obsequiousness of ChatGPT becomes an issue, and it's saying, yes, great, whatever it is you want to do, you want to jump off that cliff, go ahead. But that isn't what usually happens. And what usually happens is it kind of leads you into more of a kind of healthier, more productive lane if that's what you're looking for. So while, yes, it's possible that groupthink could be a problem overall with AI, it could also be a civilizing influence, if that makes any sense. But specifically with Grok in the DOJ, you've got big problems with security. You've got big problems with the way that they've been trying to tweak it to discount popular sources of information, to sorry, Sandra Lee in the chat just said, "Oorah." Lee B says, I have an AI therapist. She's the best therapist I've ever had. It's amazing. Lynette says, in terms of organization, it helps me. Oh, yeah. I have like multiple projects with multiple discussions for all different parts of my life. Yeah. But when you're talking about something as big as the DOJ, oh, I'm so sorry. That came out of nowhere. There needs to be a lot more safeguards. I don't know what they're going to use Grok for. I honestly don't. But I have real problems believing that the DOJ is just going to be like, sure, we're the, we're going to throw things through the air. We'll just rely on AI. No. Yeah, I don't know. It feels a little limited. Thank you. Thank you so much. Maria says AI helps us at work, taking meeting minutes. Excellent. Debsy, I think they want to use AI because they're lazy. Well, okay, let's have a brief look at this at 22 minutes in, because I think this is really, really important. This morning, my mother had never, she's online a lot, but I guess she's not only online in certain areas because she didn't really know about ChatGPT. I was telling her about it this morning. She's like, really? And she wrote it down. That surprised me. But anyway, she doesn't embrace all new technology, but she's not a Luddite. She has her laptop that she uses all day. So, but AI is there was a discussion. No, there was a study done recently about AI, and they were doing brain scans and all this kind of stuff. And they were trying to say that people who would use AI, that their brains were lazy. Okay, here's my problem with that. Back before literacy was as widespread as it is today, you had situations where, but still more modern era. For example, if there were people going to a particular church, and they were devout and they were good people, but they had never been taught to read, they would memorize, and they generally had really good recall on memorization. And then the people who could read, they didn't have to store that much information and retrieve that much information. But did that really make their brains more lazy, or did it just speed up the system? It reminds me of a story back during Victorian times when factories were popping up and child labor laws? What's that? Huh? They would have these little girls working at the part of where they were creating, they were weaving fabric, getting everything together. And they had these little girls standing at one point where, as little tufts of material or little bits would get otherwise caught, they had to reach in and grab these little tufts out at random. And if you weren't fast enough, it would pinch your fingers. So one of the little girls got hold of some kind of tweezers And she went in there and she started using the tweezers, and she was able to get the work done without pinching her fingers. Well, one of the supervisors saw her and had a really good look at that and took it to the higher ups and said, well, this is great. So they gave the other little girls tweezers, basically, and said, great, then now we can speed up the machine. And the girls were like, so it can be good or bad, but just because you are able to take care of things that aren't as good a use of your mental processing capability and the limited amount of brain chemical energy you have in your brain on a given day, decision fatigue, things like that. Being able to move those calculations onto a computer so that your mind is open for more executive function stuff. It doesn't make your brain lazier. It speeds up the whole process. So suddenly you're able to take on more parts of business and life or second or third jobs, or taking better care of pets, or whatever it is. Cognitive load. Thank you, Tara. That just depends how you use it. That's probably instead of me talking so much, that would have been the easy way to say it. But Dave says exploitation of circumstances is not management. Oh, what they did to those girls was heinous. But it just reminded me of the using cleverness to fix a problem can lead to the whole system going faster. Even if there are mixed results of that. That's what came to mind, so that's what I shared. So Coral says, in every newspaper story we read, they have used AI on. It's scary seeing how much of it is used these days. People stop thinking and believe everything they read and see. Critical thinking is out the window. It depends how you use it. I have to agree with Valerie on this one. I have real frustrations with AI because I'm using it so much, and I am always pushing up against the limitations of what it can do because of all the different parts of my business. And it's thank you, Grace. It's part of why, I started the Color Organization channel, and I've been working on a system for a long time that isn't really up there yet, but is coming, which is how we can better organize parts of our work life, our personal lives, because there's too much for us to mentally carry around during the day. There was a concept a couple of years ago about building a second brain. Is it Tito for? I've got the book right here. Hang on. All right. Well, this is not the system I would necessarily use. This was a big deal a couple of years ago. And it's basically the idea of using like Notion or, excuse me, something like that. But getting as much of the stuff that would otherwise be sitting around in your brain and getting it out, because our brains are really are functioning, deciding, executive decisions is really the big thing. Storage is not what our brains are great at. So, and this is systems like this, and I just use that as an example. It's not the one I would even recommend, although it's interesting. I read all kinds of stuff, but it speeds up the whole system. So, but yeah, I'm always pushing up against the limits of what it can do. It frustrates the heck out of me. Susan says, I will totally watch all the things you've discussed. Oh, okay. Oh, thank you. Joy says, you mean like a pensieve? Yeah, kind of. I like that idea. Yeah, I'm trying to get the astrographics course up, but I've got pages and pages and piles of information on that's going to be a part of the color organization channel here on YouTube. So right now there's only a few months of like budgeting stuff, and I haven't even done that recently just because I had to stock up so much because of Dumpy. Anyway, okay. He says, "Woot! I got it." Okay. Hello, Rosenbaum. Hello, Finzenberger. Okay, so AI. We talked about AI. Let's talk about AI in 2025, because it's going to start improving exponentially because you've got AI helping to make AI work better. Plus, we are right up against workable quantum computers, and that is a, let's just simplify it and say, game changer for processing power. As in, I mean, they talk about blockchain, which is what protects cryptocurrency, being this, you have to do all these calculations to break blockchain, which keeps cryptocurrency safe. Well, from what they're talking about with quantum computing would look at blockchain and go, oh, that's quaint. That's what I've read. So, Queen of Cups. It's also freeing up your life, your brain, to do more things you want to do, or to do them better. True, Debsy. I mean, it can be, companies start using it for the bottom line, and that can get ugly. If health insurance companies are using AI to determine if a patient can get services, often being denied, well, that's just outsourcing. That's the equivalent of just outsourcing what they're already doing. It isn't that the AI is deciding. It's just the insurance company is using bigger computing power to make the heinous decisions they were already doing. So, 70 says, with AI, it's a feedback loop. Not necessarily. Again, I think it depends on what we're talking about, because if I showed you just what I have in ChatGPT, all the different projects, all the different discussions, I've got everything from, okay, I've got this and this and this, and I'm vegan, and I need a recipe for this. How many grams would that be? Okay. And then I need to improve the covers on these live streams. Give me ways to do that. Okay, what about this other thing over here? So I was watching a video the other day about the 1950s and the daily life, and how they were actually complaining about how post-war, how the generations that had grown up in the Depression and then World War II came into this post-war America with immense opportunities and this push for standardization, but a standardization that allowed a more stable not monetary policy, more stable financial situation that yeah, we don't have today. But there was suddenly, if you go and look at the way that people, like what the inside of somebody's house looked like in 1890, and then you look at the same level in 1950, it's huge. The difference is night and day, even for people who didn't have much money. So anyway, Five of Wands. Right now there's a what's the word I'm looking for? Claude is part of the company, and it's not anthropodic. It's I'm having a day. Too much cognitive load. Anthropic? No. Anyway, there's Claude, there's OpenAI, which has ChatGPT. Google has Gemini, which is a lot better than I thought it was going to be. Anthropic. Thank you, Dorinda. Thank you. Anthropic, that's it. Has Claude. Yeah, Google's Gemini is really good. And there are others. There's Perplexities coming up, is up and coming. There are a number of AIs, and right now they're all jockeying for position. Valerie says Perplexity is better for research. There we go. So jockeying for position, Four of Swords, Six of Pentacles. Oh, we're not using it at its full capacity. And yeah, I mean, this is not a massive channel. I don't make huge amounts of money. But I do pay for chat. I do pay $20 a month for ChatGPT because I use it so much. And considering what I'm getting back for it, because I use it so much, pretty good. Nine of Cups. Have all of these possibilities, all these things you can build and do. Three of Pentacles, and coming up with plans. And there's real opportunity here. But it's not being used yet. We are in the earliest. I mean, the seed has barely cracked open in the soil compared to what's coming, as far as computing power and as far as how much, I'm an optimist, how much computers could ultimately help us. And I think they will. There will be growing pains. There will be problems along the way. But there's no way you can put this genie back in the bottle. That's not happening. So, okay. Valerie says, don't limit yourself to one tool. Try them all. Okay. Gloria says, I dislike ChatGPT. Is there another tool that you're using? Mel says, human brains at this point don't have the capacity to use AI at its fullest potential. Okay. And all right. CC Ryder says, I'm using ChatGPT to redesign rooms in my house. Mind blown how it follows my prompts and design style, color palette, moving things around. Renderings are lifelike. Yeah, I was amazed by that too. I was asking for help coming up with a cleaning schedule. And I was like, I'll just take some pictures and upload them. You can even just hit the plus button and just go to camera and just, okay, this is this part of my room, click. And I was working out an inventory of my groceries and stuff. I was trying to show it something on this rack that I have behind the door where I keep a bunch of cooking stuff. I was trying to show it this part, and it was like, oh yeah, I can see that. Also, you have these spices. Oh, and I can see you have a good supply of this, and you have a supply of that. I mean, it was just pulling everything out of the picture. It was like, really? Oh, that was helpful. So, Mel says I use Google Gemini for my YouTube channel. It does a pretty good job. I like. Shanna says I've used Gemini to rewrite my resume and cover letter. And it just disappeared. Oh, I'm so sorry. The whole thing just. Shauna Mac 39. I've used Gemini to rewrite my resume and cover letter template. Oh, excellent. Janelle says, I think it's an amazing tool. Yeah. Visualize 70 says, can AI help with organizing your life? Heck yeah. Oh, heck yeah. Olivia says, I love ChatGPT. This week, I've created some custom GPTs. It's amazing. It helps me create resources, presentations, workshops, all kinds of things. Yep. So, Sandy says, came late, catching up. In regards to building a second brain, 2023 author Tiago Forte published and updated a book called The Para Method. Yes, I'm intrigued. Yes, that's the sequel to this, I believe. Because he talks about the Para Method in here. I don't think about information in that way, but I thought it was really interesting. So hopefully AI is going to help me take all these different ideas and finally finish these projects. Anyway, okay. Byrne says, I don't think I would have given AI a chance if I didn't hear the story about how Autumn and Sarah crashed an AI system. We didn't. Okay, we crashed. Yeah, well, we did. We didn't crash the whole system, but we asked a little bit much of it, and they had to hire a couple of new engineers. Okay, anyway, all right. It's true. I told you, I'm always pushing up against the limits of what it can do. So, all right. Let's move on to retelling Savoy. That's an interesting question. Before we move off of AI, this is an interesting question at 40 to 45. Talking about Grok in particular, but I think AI in general are the biases in AI because it grew up on the internet. Will men's ideas be emphasized more than women's? I mean, obviously it would depend on the machine, but I would hope it would get to the point where it's not really paying attention to whether a packet of information, which is kind of what we are to them, is male or female. Yeah, because I think we've had enough misogyny. Personally, I don't know. Call me crazy, but I think we've had enough racism and misogyny in the world. I think we're done with it. I think we should be done with it. I think that can go away now. Thanks, Kay. Okay, thanks. Judgment. And I don't want to hear a word about how women are too emotional. Oh, please. Chris Cool, I forget, what topic did you and Sarah crash AI with? Oh, I'll get to that in a minute. Queen of Swords. Okay. Page of Wands. Queen of Pentacles. Oh, women can very much have it doesn't care. It doesn't have the biological biases, even though it learns so much about the world through the internet. And as long as places like 4chan existed. But no, this is good. This is women's ideas, absolutely. counting. So that's good. I like it. What happened? Oh, what happened with the thing? I have when I sit down and I write novels, I'm not a pantser. I don't just sit down and whatever I think about. No, I have Saturn on my ascendant. I outline to the ground. I mean, I have whole systems and this, which will lead to that, which will lead to the other. And trying to break that down into checklists or tasks specifically. So, okay, if I want to write a book, then I need to do all of these things, just granular tasks to put everything together, from coming up with the ideas all the way through the organizing, the scene and sequels, the act structures, the et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, the actions and reactions of the protagonist and antagonist, all the way through, and then formatting and publishing and promote. Well, I didn't get to the promoting, but doing all of that and breaking that down into tasks. And I did. And Sarah was like, tell you what, I'm going to upload that into Motion, which is will help organize all your tasks. And then it uses AI to help it fit it all into your schedule. So she uploaded it and it killed the program. It didn't kill all of Motion, but the program itself was just, So she went to Motion and said, hi, this is the problem. And they were like, oh, we thought people would just go in one by one and be like, oh, I guess I need to do this or that. They literally like, we'll take care of it. They literally hired 2 engineers to improve their system because they couldn't handle. Oopsies. Anyway. All right. So, all right, I want to just check in. We're not getting a lot of details yet. Moving back to the news at 47:40. We're not getting a lot of details on this, so I'm wondering if there's anything in the collective energy about this. Because right after this whole Epstein mess came out, suddenly, out of the blue, Pam Bondi fired the top DOJ ethics advisor. That's true, Anne. Top DOJ ethics advisor says Pam Bondi fired him right after the Epstein debacle. Coincidence? Oh boy. Retelling Savoy, you're speaking my language. Because Trump is backing Bondi, I think she feels more secure than she should. I just have this sense. I've got Temperance here, which would be anybody who would be willing to speak out, like, I don't know, a top DOJ ethics advisor. But no, you got to toe the party line, Trumple Thin-Skin's line. 9 of Cups. Evidence. Look at all this evidence. It's my card of evidence. Just all laid out. Should be the sword of truth, but no, that feels like Pam Bondi saying, no, mine. Chariot, this is not going away. Matter of fact, King of Cups. Fingers crossed. We've been burned before, but the cards keep saying that we are going to, this is going to hand power to Democrats. This is not going away. So, yeah, and how dare you speak against anything that might hurt the Fuhrer. Shauna's saying that Bondi was involved in Epstein's deal in Florida. My understanding is that it was Alexander Acosta who was responsible for that in 2009. Bondi wasn't there until 2011. So she ran some interference later, but it was Alexander Acosta who's, yeah. That's my understanding. Correct me if I'm wrong, please, as always. Okay, so I want to read on this one. I want to make sure I read on this one question because I'm not going to lie. Cruel King Abbott of Texas is one of my least favorite human beings on the planet. He and Paxton. Wow, Texas, really? Really? I've lived in Texas. I know you're smarter than that. Anyway, so Cruel King Abbott of Texas says emails with Elon Musk are too intimate and embarrassing to make public because he doesn't want the public to see how involved Elon is in, or basically what. Okay, okay. My understanding is there was someone who was using the Freedom of Information Act to try to get hold of the correspondence between Abbott and Musk. And the government said, well, that costs money. And the person, it might have been a news organization, but I'm not sure. They said, okay, here's the money. And Texas cashed the check, as it were, and what have you, but then came back and said, oh, you can't have that information because it would involve, it would expose how Texas negotiates to bring companies into the state. And they kept the money. So Abbott says that emails with Elon Musk are too intimate and embarrassing to make public. Excuse you? What does that mean? Will we ever find out what's been going on? Bernadette says so. Julie says, really? Yeah. Kristen says it was inappropriate, is literally what Abbott said. It was inappropriate? The FOIA request or the equivalent, Texas equivalent, or the communications? Chris, Night Moon Glow says, my brain hurts. I trust you. We're in this together. Is it possible? I know. I'm an optimist. I have enough Sagittarius in my chart that I've got this streak of optimism in me. Is it possible that this sort of garbage, that getting into bed with a dog with the kind of fleas that Elon Musk has would be bad for Abbott, his political future? All right, the only thing that's major arcana here is the first card, which is Hermit, which is mine, you can't see it, hidden. And so Abbott had a bromance with Musk to get him to move the business to Texas. Probably. Yeah, Chris Cool, why Elon left California for Texas. Yeah. Yeah, the promises made. Yeah, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. 9 of Wands. Ooh, Abbott would definitely have some problems. There's refusal. 5 of Cups is disappointment. We're not going to get anything for a while. But according to these cards, there's a lot there. Now, just keeping things quiet. So, oh boy. And you know that I think the couple of questions left I would need to go into real depth on. So I'll roll those over to tomorrow. But thank you so much for being here. Thank you. All right, it is 12:57. I started on time. It's 12:57 p.m. here in Chicago at 3 o'clock. So in 2 hours, I'll be over on the Creative Sprints channel. Sarah will be there, and we're going to be productive and get stuff done and encourage each other. And you're always welcome. The link's in the description box. All right. Thank you. You're not alone. Please remember you're not alone. We are in this together. And there are good days ahead, even if it feels like sometimes there aren't. All right, hang in there. And I will see you later.